Okay, so let's take a drive up the coast to Huntington Beach. Here's a property that we've owned 3 properties now in that same locale, 7 miles from a property that we bought and sold 2 years ago. And I've mentioned it before, a home run for us that we paid less than $350,000 a unit for and sold for $570,000 a unit just 12 months and 1 day later. You say, why 12 months and 1 day? Well, you get long-term capital gains if you're longer than a 12-month hold, and that's what we did to make sure escrow did not close any shorter than 12 months. In this property, it's 7 miles away. It's 0.9 miles from the ocean. And it ties into the Cypress property we just talked about earlier because the same ownership owns both. I want to tell you a little bit about this asset. It's an 8-unit building that sits in a location that is high density. It's just apartments with built-in home ownership throughout the community. So you have this feel of home ownership that keeps the neighborhood quiet and clean, but apartments, which can be somewhat transient, that are high density, so you're not very difficult at all to identify what the rents should be in any particular unit. The 8 units are fairly large in size. There's not a lot of work to be done on the interiors with the exception of replacing the kitchens, which is probably the most expensive part. But as you know, the key to any income property investment is the income. And in this particular property, there's about a 26% increase in rents that we're going to see happen over the next 6 months. We'll go from about a $15,000 income monthly to about a $19,000 and change. And with that, the reason for that actually is because we're going to put about $47,000 per unit into the fixing up of this property. Why so much? I find that one of the metrics that's important in buying apartment buildings is to get a return on every dollar that you invest. So in addition to the down payment and the equity that you put into the property, we also want to get paid on the capital expenditure costs of the property. So in this case, not less than a 15% return do I expect on my capital expenditures. And within that budget, if I can cause that property to drive maximum rents, that's an ideal opportunity for us to do well for our investors. I've shared with you before, one of the brand marks for VisionWise Capital is that we never put more than 50% loan to value on a property. Why do we do that? Because the greatest risk in real estate is not the real estate. I say this over and over again. Real estate is a phenomenal product because if you can blow it up and it still has value to someone who wants to buy the land underneath it. But what you don't want to do as an investor is you don't want to lose the asset, any asset, to the bank. You don't want to be caught in a sudden downturn in the economy, like a pandemic, for example, and somehow find yourself unable to pay your mortgage. That's an unacceptable investment risk. We eliminate that risk nearly entirely by just simply putting a loan on the property where we would have to lose more tenants and more income that was lost in the Great Recession in 2008 and 9. We would have to do worse than that to actually have a risk of getting a notice of default from the bank. Keep that in mind when you think about the risk profile of anything you invest in. Look to see what your downside is. And in real estate, recognize it's generally going to be the financing of the property. Now, you'll never be able to avoid the risk of operator error, and that's why you need to investigate VisionWise Capital and our processes and our people to make sure you're comfortable with the character as well as the competency of the firm that you're investing through. We look forward to hearing from you. Give us a call, shoot us an email, let us know that you're interested, and we'll send you some information on this property on 709 Palm Avenue and our other properties that are available for you to invest in through one of our funds. Allow me to speak to you for a moment about something very important. I need you to know that no way is any investment ever guaranteed. It just doesn't work that way. Anyone who's been investing for 10 years or more knows by the very own scar tissue they have from a deal that didn't go well, that you cannot guarantee an investment. There's always going to be risk. But I want you to know also that you can minimize risk by the more you know about the investment itself and as well as the operator or the advisor that brings the investment to you. In our case at VisionWise Capital, we have a private placement memorandum for every deal we do. It comes along with an operating agreement and a subscription agreement. Those 3 documents tell you what the parameters of responsibilities are for us as an operator and what the rights and the privileges are for you as an investor. I encourage you to read carefully the private placement memorandum from cover to cover as best you can. The operating agreement is summarized inside of that document, and the subscription agreement as well is attached. I want to encourage you, once you read the documents I just pointed out, for you to run these same documents by your tax advisor as well as your financial advisor to make sure that you're cared for with regards to the fit for this investment in terms of your financial future. So you should be able to, by the time you finish, either have amazing questions for me or have a full understanding of what you're investing in, or both. I'm really looking forward to a long and fruitful investment relationship with you. We'll do it right and we'll do it well. Let's enjoy the journey together.